All right, guys. This is CC Nation News, and we're talking about building bridges for Brianna. So getting into this. Brianna Dorgan's born on Tuesday, March 8th, 2005, born to Matthew and April Dorgan. Bree was always in a hurry, so she didn't wait for the doctor to get there. As nurse called for the doctor, April pushed Matt and caught Bree in his arms. While Bree clung tightly to her mom, she was a daddy's girl from the time she was born, and had daddy wrapped around her little finger. She seemed like the happiest, luckiest kid in the world. When they went on vacations, Bree was always the one to go out and make a few friends. In fact, one friend she made while they were vacationing in Myrtle Beach, she became a long-term friend and a friendship that lasted well into Bree's teen years. She was always smiling and looking to brighten up the day for someone else. When Bree was 6 years old, Matt and April separated, so divorce. Okay. April moved to North Carolina, taking Bree and her younger brother, John, with her. Matt only had a limited visitation during the year because of his work schedule in law enforcement and retail. Since he only had one weekend off a month, he would spend time with Bree during that weekend and then have her for the majority of summer. One day while Matt was speaking at a conference, Bree called home out of the blue. Bree never did that when he was working, so he knew the call must be important. He and Bree spoke for a while, and Bree asked him if she could move with him permanently. Of course, he agreed, so Bree moved in for her dad. She was in the 7th grade. About a year later, Matt came home to find an electric cord hanging from the ceiling in the garage. He went in to check on her, and Bree told him she didn't want to live anymore. Well, why so? Why don't you live anymore? I mean, life's hard to live, but I just do it. He took her to crisis. That's not going to help you. It's going to hurt you even more. Because then Bree opened up about having been molested and that she had been cutting herself. Between she was 6 years old and 9, she had been molested by a family member. She tried to tell her other family members about it, but they didn't believe her and blamed her. She didn't try to tell her dad because no one else believed her, and she just assumed he wouldn't either. Okay? First of all, people aren't supposed to blindly believe you. If you're going to prove someone guilty of a crime, you need evidence and take it to court. Accusing and blaming people ain't going to do the trick. Trust me, I've been through this before. She didn't try to tell her, okay. This is frequently the case when a child tries to report abuse. Reports met with disbelief, blame is placed on the victim, or both. No, police officers need evidence to take the case to court, and the prosecutor has proved the case beyond a reasonable doubt. That's what has to happen in law enforcement. This ain't religion where you believe this, believe that, and you get what you want. No. Eventually, they just give up on trying to tell anyone they need help. They kept telling her to stop lying about being molested until finally, years later, the family member was caught in the act of her. Matt contacted law enforcement. It was investigated locally, then sent to the jurisdiction where the perpetrator lived. Sadly, the investigation was slow enough that the perpetrator turned 18 and they refused to prosecute him because they would be prosecuting an adult for his actions as a minor. So absolutely nothing came from the investigation. Well, it happens. Sometimes the prosecutor doesn't find enough evidence to prove the case. That happens. Bree would say that the molestation was traumatic enough, but the worst trauma came from not being believed. You're not supposed to be believed. You have to prove the case. You have to prosecute. She was being called a liar and putting blame on her by the people who was supposed to protect her. Well, if you don't show evidence what you believe, you kind of are lying about yourself. You're saying this, saying that, but no evidence. People today want evidence, not a bunch of religious, faith-based statements. That's not what people want. She attempted suicide before. She did outpatient intensive therapy. She had medication for depression. When Bree realized Matt believed her and listened to her, she started telling him everything. Okay, don't do that. Do not confess your sins or your past to your biological father, because he's going to tell the world all about it. When he goes to the grave, he's going to tell God all about it. And you're going to be in big trouble. They became very close. She left Matt notes. Favorite foods are bacon, pizza. Matt heard the kids playing upstairs. One minute they'd be very quiet. The next thing, he would hear them running back and forth. So he knew they were up to something. He went to check on them. Bree had bacon cookies stashed away in the microwave of her kitchen playset. The kids would run onto the playset, get something to eat, and run back. Another time, her grandmother neighbor commented on her purse. When they asked what was in her purse, she got quiet and looked away, which was unusual for her. Later, Matt, curious to know what she was up to, checked her purse to see what she was hiding, and found it was full stuffed bacon. It's like contraband there. Love to cook. She loved animals. She wanted to have a zoo. She's close to her dogs. She wanted an animal support dog. Matt tried to make it happen, but her doctors and therapists were not certified in therapy with emotional support animals, so it didn't happen. So instead, Matt got her a puppy. Well, she got a dog. It might not be the dog you want, but it's a dog. Then on Thursday, December 3rd, 2020, 15 years old, Brianna tragically took her own life. Matt and John were in the house at the time. They heard the noise, but they didn't know what it was until they checked it out. Bree gave no indication of what she was going to do. That morning, she was upbeat and interacted with them the way she normally would. Brianna's story is not unique. Oh, it's very innate. It is very, very innate. I think the parents might be to blame for this one. They should have listened to her cries, get help, but they obviously chose to go their own way. They called the police officer. They didn't do anything. Yeah, it's not her that's the problem. It's the support structure. Although she should have conducted her own independent case. If you're assaulted by someone, Bill to get a rape kit. That's how you get the raper. If you let the raper get away, he's going to win. There are countless children and teens who are dealing with the trauma of child abuse or other traumas that are just as insidious. Before the start of the pandemic, 60% of all teens had engaged self-harm. 50% of all teens had engaged in self-harm on a continuing basis. Problems only gotten worse since the start of the pandemic. Matt is committing to he's working to end his nightmare that's shared by too many children in our society. He has done building bridges for Brianna. It's not going to save her. It's not going to save herself going to hell. I mean, it's not going to save anyone. Suicide prevention does not work because people that want to take their own life, they really want to do it. And trust me, they will do it. They don't want to be on this planet. They want to be with God or Jesus or even Satan himself. Building bridges for Brianna. It's a nice, promotion tour, propaganda thing, but it's not going to save her. It's not going to bring her back. And why is there a man on the bridge, not a woman? There's a man on the bridge. Am I the man on the bridge? Am I almost there? I don't know. This has been CCNATION News, Bridges for Brianna. I support it, but Matt Dorgan, he might be the villain here. Who knows? See you guys later.